So what? Today we're going to explain a Korean drama called Splash Splash Love.
This is a 2 episodes drama. Today we are explaining the second episode. To watch the first episode, go to the description. Jan Danby is a high school girl. She suddenly disappears on the day of the university entrance exam and goes to the Joseon dynasty in Korea. King Lee-do thinks that Danby is a palace eunuch from another country. Danby teaches the king mathematics. Feelings begin to develop between the two. As a result, a conspiracy is hatched in Joseon to kill Danby. But now, Danby has a chance to go home again. She has to jump into the water to go home. Will Danby go home? Will Danby stop in Joseon? Will everyone be in danger because of Danby? To find out about this, we have to watch this drama until the end. Then, let's jump into the drama. Danby has to jump into the mud to go home. But instead, she stays in the king's arms. The rain stops. So Danby's chance to go home is lost. The king is going to prepare a boat for Danby to escape. But Danby is crying. She came to this world while escaping. She doesn't want to escape anymore. She says she needs more time. The king's guard comes and tries to take Danby to a safe place. Anyway, I feel a little suspicious about him at this time, because the king's advisor had previously told him to kill Danby because she was dangerous. When they stopped for a while, the guard pulled the sword from Danby's back. Meanwhile, the queen finds out that the king went to save Danby. The queen searches the king's chamber. She finds the orange that Danby had with him. The queen also finds out that Danby is a girl. She thinks that the king loves Danby. Meanwhile, the guard, who was holding the sword, is trying to tell Danby not to drink the water from the water hole because there is moss. When Danby gets up from there, her legs get tangled and she leans on the guard's chest. From that, the guard knows that Danby is a girl. Anyway, he has suspected that Danby is a girl from before, but he doesn't care. He says that if she pays double the rent, it will be a secret from the king. He said he would keep it. Then Danby says that the guard is a good man, but the guard is still thinking about whose side to take. With that, he draws his sword again and stabs Danby in the right side. The king learns that the advisor has ordered Danby to be killed. The king takes his sword and quickly goes to the forest. The queen also follows the king into the forest. The previous guard has drawn his sword to save Danby from a hired assassin. Seeing many other assassins, the guard gives Danby his horse and tells him to go to the beach. Danby gives the guard the only weapon she has, which is a small paper cutter. The guard leaves Danby alone. The guard finally fights the assassins with Danby's paper cutter. Danby does not know how to ride a horse, but suddenly Danby remembers the song Gangnam Style and does the dance step to it. Then she can ride the horse. When Danby reaches the end of the road, she takes out her phone and uses a compass to find the direction she wants to go. The queen takes off her headdress and runs. On the way, she meets the guard. She comes and slaps him and says he knew all this and didn't tell her. But without answering, the guard looks at the queen's injured leg and carries her away. As the sun sets, Danby approaches the western seashore. The king also comes there to meet Danby. The king runs up and gives Danby a kiss. When the queen enters the palace, the doors are closed, so she goes to the guard's room. There she sees 2 wooden pipes. She remembers how they made them when they were children. When the queen goes out, she sees the guard applying medicine to his wounds alone. She goes to the guard and helps him. The queen's anger has now subsided. Meanwhile, Danby is sitting by a bonfire on the beach with the king. Danby tells the king about the future. She says that it's not another country, but many years away. The king is skeptical about it. Danby shows him a stargazing app on her phone. The king is surprised to see it. But then the phone's battery runs out. The king shows the sky, saying that stars that don't disappear are better. Danby asks how many stars there are in the Joseon sky. The king says that at first the stars are only visible for a few, but the more you look, the more you see. He says that it's not because the stars increase, but because the heart of the person who sees them opens. The king takes Danby's hand and writes the letters, love. The letters are on Danby's t-shirt. Danby smiles and replies, me too. But the king doesn't even know what the king said. Danby says that she loves the king. The king can't imagine. Danby shows the letters love on chocolate bars to the king and tells him what they mean. The king says that one of his goals is to create a language that ordinary citizens can write and speak. At that moment, Danby thinks that this is King Li Do, who is known as a great king of Joseon in the future. She quickly takes a 10,000 won note from her purse and holds it in front of the king's face, saying that the king is definitely creating a new language. She says to herself, should I get an autograph from the king and keep it? She looks at the note again and says, the king is more beautiful than what is on it. Meanwhile, the king eats one of the chocolate pieces. The king who tastes it eats all 4 pieces of chocolate and licks the paper. Seeing this, Danby laughs.
Meanwhile, the queen and the king's guard are watching the stars. The queen tells her father that she will get the guard a position as a musician. The guard, who gets angry at that, breaks a musical instrument that was there. But the queen says that she was only trying to help. At that moment, the queen's stomach cries, so the guard fries the chicken with oil. The queen who eats it is surprised by the taste and asks what kind of oil was used. But the queen does not understand the type of oil the guard says, because it is a type of oil that only Danby knows. The king eats Danby's chocolate until it is finished. Danby wonders when the chocolate came in her bag. She remembers that her mother must have put it in her bag in the morning. Danby starts crying when she thinks of her mother. Even though the king tells her not to cry, it doesn't work. The king remembers that Danby said, when she feels sad, she eats chocolate. The king kisses Danby and shares the chocolate. The queen stays up all night and draws a picture of the guard's clock set. Meanwhile, Danby continues to make calculations to make the timepiece. She only gets up in the morning to wash her face. One day, she sees moss growing in a small pond. She goes to the palace and removes the moss-covered water from the timepiece. Then the timepiece starts working. The king is able to free Danby from punishment. He appoints Danby and the guard to high positions. The king learns more lessons from Danby. This time, when the king wins, he gives Danby a kiss instead of hitting her on the forehead. One day, while Danby is teaching the king about the solar system, she unties her hair. The king is watching in amazement. Meanwhile, he listens carefully to the sounds of the words coming out of Danby's mouth and forms letters for them. The Korean letters that the king created later are the letters that were created that way. One day, when Danby goes to the royal kitchen, the queen eats noodles in hiding. Later, she makes the queen ramen with it. The queen becomes friends with Danby. Danby also teaches the queen a trick to draw a skirt in a hanbok. She agrees to accept Danby as king's wife. Although the queen's father is against this, the queen prepares Danby. She bathes Danby and dresses her in a beautiful dress. Danby asks her what position she really wants to be given by the government. Then the warden tells her that Danby is going to spend the flower night with the king. Hearing this, Danby runs away in fear. Hearing that Danby has escaped, the king goes to look for Danby. While in the king's secret corridor, the king finds Danby. The king takes Danby to his chamber. Danby is scared and says that she is saving his life. That's why she disguised herself as a man. She says that the king said that she was like a friend. She also says that she is still 19. The king says that 19 is an age to have 3 children. The king approached Danby. Danby shouted with the paper cutter. The king laughed. He had played a joke on Danby. The king had known that Danby was a girl from before. One day, when the king was about to drop Danby off at the home, he heard the younger brother of the guard, and the king ran back to see Danby. Also, the king had played football with Danby all night because he did not want Danby to be away from the king even for a short time. Besides, if he showed that he knew that she was a girl, he would not be able to keep Danby close. He says that making Danby a queen will be difficult to stop. At that time, Danby takes the cutter again. The king says that Danby is safe as long as he is in his room. He also says that he will not lay a hand on Danby. The two of them sleep apart from a screen that day. When Danby falls asleep, the king jokes that he wants to see if Danby is a girl. The king is sad that his mother will not let him do what he wants. Danby says that her mother is like that too. The king says that before he wanted to keep Danby here because she was useful, but now it is not like that. The king should stay close. The king asks Danby not to go next time it rains. Since Danby does not say anything, the king comes to Danby's side and sleeps with his head on Danby's hand. The next morning, while Danby is discussing the new calendar with the king's bodyguard, Danby realizes that this bodyguard is also someone who will go down in history as a great bodyguard in the future. The bodyguard tells Danby that it is a great thing to go from being an ordinary person to a royal queen. But Danby has no desire to become a queen. Besides, she is afraid that she will somehow change the future. She thinks that the king will start thinking about her and lose focus on building the Korean language. The bodyguard asks Danby if she really wants to go home. Danby wonders why she always has no answers to the questions that come to her mind. Meanwhile, the king uses a hairpin to tell Danby to stay in Joseon. Danby has to go to meet the queen mother. Danby is shocked when she sees the queen mother. The queen mother of Joseon has Danby's mother's face. She falls down next to the queen mother and cries. That night, Danby goes to meet the king wearing her school uniform. The king has made a calendar that can count the days as Danby told him about the universe. But when the king sees Danby crying, he holds Danby's hand and walks down a corridor. There are sheets of papers with new Korean letters hanging all over it. Danby goes to a room and sees sheets of papers with new words, sounds, and meanings hanging everywhere. The king makes Danby sit on a chair and put the hairpin in her hair and tells her to always be with him. The king says that it is an order. He writes Danby's new name in the newly made letters. But Danby wants to go home. She misses her mother a lot. The king asks Danby, "Then who am I to you?" Danby says, "It's a dream." The king's eyes fill with tears. Danby gives the king the reward. The king tells Danby that it is an order. Finally, the king says that this is the king's request. But Danby only cries. However, the king says that if the future is a good place to live, then go. Then the king leaves. At this time, someone hits Danby on the head from behind. Then he stabs her with a sword. The queen is scared to know about the plan of the queen's father to kill Danby. She says that she found a dream that was better than being alone in this palace. Her dream is not to be alone in the palace. The queen is going to tell this to the king, but Danby's room is on fire at that time. Danby takes the hairpin and hides it in her hand. The king goes to look for Danby as soon as the room is on fire. He apologized to Danby for keeping Danby with him, even though he knew she was in danger. The king names the advisor as the suspect. The sword is stuck in the book of maths in Danby's bag. That's why Danby is saved. Danby has the ability to recognize a person by voice, so Danby recognizes the advisor's voice that he was there at the time of the fire. The advisor admits that he was against creating a language that ordinary people could read and write, because it would lose their job. He also thinks that if everyone could read and write, the future would be very dangerous. The king says that no matter what, no one can stop him creating a language for all the people. He tells the advisor that no one should run away because they are afraid of their future. Danby feels the story very much. Danby, who is ready to leave, tears out several pages of her history book for the king. The king is surprised to see it because even though all the letters he created caught fire, they are still on these sheets. Danby tells the king that the king will definitely make his dream come true and introduce a new language. Finally, the king comes to believe that Danby has actually come from the future, not from another country. When Danby says goodbye to the king's guard, the guard tells her that his name is Pak Yeon. Danby remembers that in the history book, this guard is not a great general in the future, but a great musician. She tells the guard to keep playing music. The king takes Danby to the sea. When it rains, the king picks Danby up. The two are very much in love. The king kisses Danby for the last time. Danby goes to the future again. The king is left alone on the seashore. He says that no matter how long it takes,
One day I will find you. Danby emerges from his world and goes to the exam on time. There is a question in the history section that asks to write the name of a great scientist and inventor during the time of King Li Do. Danby remembers that the ministers gave Danby a name called Yan Yan Shil. She marks it on the paper. When Danby looks at the paper where the name the king gave her is written, it says Yan Yan Shil. Danby goes home and hugs her mother. Danby fails the exam. She returns while working a part-time job. Danby's friend is drawing the story of Danby and the king into a webtoon. The friend says that King Li Do has had many queens and 20 children. Danby is surprised, but happy that the king has lived well. She sees that a man with the face of the king's bodyguard is now a famous singer. Another rainy day, Danby steps into a mud hole to see if she can get through from it. Then someone comes and holds an umbrella over Danby. He is exactly like King Li Do. He tells Danby that we met a long time ago. That day when Danby was going to the exam, her books fell on the bus and he picked it up. He took the umbrella that Danby had lost on the bus, so that's the umbrella he's holding. These two, they look at each other and smile lovingly. This is how the drama ends. People run away because they are afraid of the future. They also worry about the past. But people who face the present bravely never fear the future or worry about the past. So we will meet in another drama soon.